guys, how's it going? Okay, so the other day I showed you how to clean that out and it would drain right away. Now, and you can actually, I put that little thing down there to see if it stays, if it keeps it from draining. I don't know if you remember that. I was going to try that out and give you guys some feedback after a couple of weeks. This one, I've tried to clean it with that little rotor, and this is not draining. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the sink, take apart the P-trap. It's gonna be kind of gross, so. But you can see how it's not draining at all. You're gonna want a bucket, and I'm gonna get, plug my light in. You're gonna want a bucket under the sink, because once you take apart that P-trap, it's gonna just pour out water. So this is slowly draining down, and I'm gonna wait for a couple more seconds before I take it apart. So 1 second. Okay guys, let's see if we can get this a good shot. I got the cord there for the light. Just like everyone else's sink, there isn't anything underneath here. I'm actually not going to show you what I just pulled out from under the sink, because we store everything under the sink. It kind of seems like everyone does. So this will also be nice that we're going to do this as well, because you see how this is routed behind here. This kind of bugs me, so I'm gonna, once we take this off, we're gonna make sure that this is also routed behind here. So water goes in here, drains down, goes through here. This will keep a certain level of water, and so it doesn't have the sewage gas go back up and into the house. So if you were to not use this sink for months and months, eventually you would start smelling sewage gas. What happens when you smell sewage gas? It means there isn't any water in here, and this normally vents out the roof. It's also tied in with it can be tied in with other drains, so then that air would come back up here. All you have to do, you can do this in the basement if you ever smell it in the basement. If you go in a public bathroom, all they would have to do is pour some water down their drain in the middle of their floor. As long as you get water here, the water will sit here and won't drain out. Air can't go back and come back up. So when you have water here, it will stop sewage gas from going back up and stinking up your old house. On the back side of this is your plunger when it clogs and stops the sink. Okay, I've got a little bucket now. What I'm going to do first is unthread this, and you are going to see how that's already kind of gross. So I'm going to get some paper towel. We're going to want to clean that. Okay, that just shows there's a bunch of gunk inside there. You can set that aside. This is our part that goes up to the back of the sink. I'm going to tighten this down afterwards. I'll show you that. Sometimes you need tools, other times this is hand tightened. This is going to be the gross / stinky part. So what's nice about this whole thing is adjustable all the way into the wall. I might get some back stuff. Okay. So can you guys see that okay? Let me see if I'm casting a shadow. That's pretty good. Okay. Oof. Stinks. Okay. So if you needed to, you could take this plunger off. Oh, gross. I don't know if you can see that. This really stinks. So I'm going to go get that plunger, and we're going to clean this out more. One other thing we're going to do is we're going to take this apart here. We're going to make, boy, that's bad. I'm going to make sure this is good going back into the other side. I might have to actually take this off. Okay, we're going to check a couple of things. Oh, I think we found our problem. I'm going to pull that assembly out. I think I found part of our problem. of see how much gunk is built up in there. This out, so we're going to clean the top. That's part of what's in the top. Gross. There's more. And then we're going to pull this off. And that actually has some plumbing. Not my favorite job. Like, ooh, that is really clogged up inside there. Okay, I'm back. I actually went outside, blasted all this out with a hose. This is, I don't know if you can see it now, quite a bit cleaner. I mean, looks really good. So, we're gonna make sure we put this behind there. And what this has, this is adjustable. So you can actually tighten this down and this will seal this up because this has a beveled edge inside. So I'm gonna force this in here. All right, now, just gonna do this snug. Don't cross thread it, just gonna do it snug. Let's get that looks like a booger off of there, okay. Just gonna do this snug. Okay, a couple things we're doing. Now, you notice that was actually a little bit loose. I don't want to do that. Let's give that little turn. Okay. And I can show you in another video actually how to install these. There's actually plumber's putty in between the sink and that downspout part of that. When you tighten this, there's an O-ring here, and the plumber's putty is like a clay, it's like a Play-Doh. It will smush down and it'll make it watertight. So that's nice and tight. There's an O-ring in there. Make sure that O-ring stays in there. It's gonna seal against this, and this is where our little pin, this is gonna go, right? Now what this is gonna go into, we're gonna drop this down from the top, and we push this in, we're gonna make sure that it lines up with the hole. So let me take this out. That has a hole, and this pivots up and down. You can see how that will cause it to raise up and down, which is caused by this, which is behind the sink. So we're not gonna put this in yet, but I need to make sure that is in there, that O-ring's in there. Don't want any leaks once we're finished, because we get to put all of our stuff back under here. You don't have to Teflon tape this because it has that nylock thing on it. So we'll get that snug. Okay. Now, let's drop this down from the top. Just drop it right in the hole. Now you have to keep track of what direction the hole is on it. Might want to put this on first, which I can do that either way. Actually, let me loosen that. I could have actually done that afterwards. Okay. Okay. Now that's tight. And you'll see, I'll show you that on top in a second. And we're going to tighten down those with a flathead here. Just a second. Okay, now let's see how these go. So this is adjustable. And see how that's beveled on that back one? Just tighten that back one. Now I didn't have to turn the water off at all for this. If you ever need to turn the water off, so I have that one tight. These ones, okay, you pull on it and it'll close. And it usually says on top. Okay. Make sure these are snug. Notice I'm not even using any tools. But if you need to, you can. And tighten that. And then we're going to tighten this now because everything is nice and straight. And again, we have these hoses behind there. So now that looks pretty for our hot and cold. Let me get in here with the screwdriver. And let's tighten this. Okay. I'll tighten this on the rod. Okay. It is tight. So what that's doing is this lever back here. And ours are kind of buried. But that is what controls that. So it's closed. And if I reach up here and push, you can see how that raises it up. If you don't want if you don't want it raising up as high, you can loosen this and have this push this up, and then you can have this rod higher and lower on there. So, okay, let's see if there's any leaks. Turn that on. These are tight. Got my water back there in the back. Any leaks? I'm gonna clog it. Fills up. Let's turn off the water. Again, making sure there's no leaks underneath. And everything drained out. That is how to do it. And then you would also check here to make sure you don't want any water on your hands once you're finished. She'll check here, 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 up here, any other place. This looks wet. This is actually the glue, ABS glue. Kind of has a wet look to it. Cool.